Out, ladies and gentlemen. Portugal is out. Messi is out. Ronaldo is out. This is The Real Deal, the show here with Rob, with Dick Star, bringing you the latest news of the World Cup 2018, the knockout phase, the round of 16, here on GetVOKL.com. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a phenomenal Saturday, tuned into the games. And this is GetVOKL. It's 2018. We're back, and we're excited to bring you the latest news of today's round of 16. Just a couple house rules. There's a little timer right here. Just like this great country is fair and balanced, so is this platform. We all have equal time. That way, we will talk equally. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, how are you? Thoughts on this morning's France versus Argentina? Messi out of the World Cup.
Armando, thank you once again for having me. I'm feeling fantastic. I'm caffeinated. I've been outside getting the sunlight here in the Pacific Northwest and really been enjoying a couple phenomenal, well, one phenomenal and one not so exciting games. The one, of course, being France really kind of controlling Argentina this morning. Sad to see two of the greats of all time, be eliminated from the World Cup at such an early stage. But, these are two guys who, while they've performed so well at the club level, and even Ronaldo with his success at the most recent Euro competition, have struggled in World Cup knockout phases. Haven't been scoring any goals at that stage, and that continued today, especially Messi really didn't seem that involved in his game at all. Ronaldo, while he tried to get involved, he often looked like LeBron James out there where he would, do something, make a move and have a teammate, miss a shot or what have you. And just he has that frustrated, exacerbated, throw his hands up in the air kind of look of being the guy out there who's trying to carry a team. So that was kind of my takeaway. What did you think?
Dick Star, let me ask you, were you surprised? Is this shocking to you? Messi out, Ronaldo, some say the greatest players in soccer right now.
I mean, to be honest with you, Armando, not very shocked. And once again, thanks for having me on. Having played sports my entire life as well, it's one of those things where you kind of stand around and you might be expecting things to happen. You got two of the best players to ever play the game. And just expecting that they're going to bail you out. And Ronaldo did that multiple times during this World Cup, but for whatever reason, when it comes to knockout stages, he kind of falls flat. When it comes to Messi, watching that game, I just saw a splintered organization. I think a lot of distractions. And to be honest with you, I was surprised that Messi came back. He did retire, quote, 2 years back and saying he wasn't going to come back. So not shocked, but also I think this is a big loss for just soccer fans all over the place and the networks, because clearly ratings may suffer, watching a Uruguay-France game. There's up-and-coming stars, but most importantly, there's missing two of the biggest faces in soccer.
Although I got to tell you, in France's defense, do you think there's a birth of a couple of new stars, specifically Kylian Mbappé scoring those two phenomenal goals in France's game, as well as, and I want to mention Benjamin Pavard, who is often overlooked, but scored that phenomenal strike to equalize the game. What do you think about that, Rob?
The Pavard strike was incredible. I was blown away when I saw that. I was not too familiar with him. Mbappé, just continued what he's been doing for all of 19 years of his life so far, which is just be tremendous at soccer. I know that you said that the ratings, or that Mr. Starr said that the ratings might suffer a little bit. That's probably the case. Anyone who enjoys soccer, though, should tune in to see France, because they are really a fun, exciting, up-tempo team to watch. And I would expect a lot of scoring, again, when we see France and Uruguay match up on Friday.
Man, I'm excited for that. I'm particularly, and I got to tell you, I'm excited for that Giroud-Antoine Griezmann combo. What is your take on Griezmann, Dick Star? I mean, he's done extremely well with Atletico de Madrid. It seems like he's going to stay that. Does he have a future somewhere else? And what is your take on his performance so far in this World Cup?
I mean, I'm not as shocked as you would assume I would be as a passive fan. I'm myself more of like a Bayern watcher, so I pay much more attention to that side of the pond. But at the same time, I think that the World Cup kind of has been looked at as a springboard in the last couple, renditions of it. We will remember with Argentina and Germany, like Mario Götze was the talk of the town, and now he's not even on the team, and he's on his way out of another club. So, I would be hesitant to kind of make those kinds of, predetermined notions that they're just going to just move on and continue with greatness. Because again, sometimes when you're out of the spotlight in these games, you can really blossom and play above your grade. And then you go back into the bigger pool when everybody's great. So I'm interested to see where his career actually ends up going now.
And I'm glad you brought up that point, Dick Star, because one case in point was 4 years ago. We saw James Rodriguez do extremely well in the World Cup. He then joins Real Madrid, and he's benched for a little bit. And not only is he benched, but he doesn't get the playing time that he probably wanted until now with Bayern Munich. But, gentlemen, I got to ask you about one other figure that has been a central figure so far for Argentina, Diego Armando Maradona. What do you think he's thinking to himself right now? And may he be falling into some medical issues as he's done in the past? Rob.
His medical issues may be flaring up once again. I certainly appreciated the double bird that he showed the world audience after I can't remember which goal that was, but I think the one that maybe ended up sending them into the knockout stages. He was obviously quite thrilled. Who knows what he is on these days? The man's a legend. His status as the greatest soccer player in Argentinian history is undeniable and unthreatened, unfortunately, with the lack of production from Messi on the World Cup stage. The guy is really a pleasure to watch his reactions as a fan watching this World Cup. So I'm a little bit disappointed, not only that we'll be missing out on more Messi, but we'll be missing out on more of that classic reaction from Maradona. So sad day if you're a casual soccer observer.
Dick, sir, were you concerned at all? I know there's some footage of Diego Armando Maradona, being intoxicated, just losing composure a little bit. What were you thinking when you were watching this? Were you concerned, or were you, I guess, enjoying the moment? What was your take on that?
I was a little bit amused. I probably saw a little bit of myself in Maradona's behavior. If I'm stuck in Russia, I might have to resort to civil discourse and things such as, whatever dabbling he may have been doing. They do call him coque in the Sochi circuit, so I won't make any assumptions, but we will what we will.
Gentlemen, very sad to see Messi out of this World Cup. Another huge loss is Cristiano Ronaldo out in the round of 16 yet again. What do you make of this game against Uruguay? Were they mentally there? What caused this loss, do you think, Dick Star, for Portugal?
I just think, again, I think it's the case, Rob touched on it, the LeBron, back in the day when Kobe, everyone isolation and just watch him go. I think this was the case where they should have known that Uruguay was going to be clamping down on defensively. Anytime Ronaldo was in space, 2 or 3 guys sent to that area. One of those cases where, hey, if maybe these guys weren't so reliant in every single match, they would have the ability to kind of create for themselves and make a big play. And I think they just watched and were just waiting for it to happen. And you even saw in extra time, I think the frustration boiled over. Ronaldo wouldn't have been playing in the next round regardless. So it probably would have been a futile, even if they would have tied and then somehow made it through. I just think this was just a long time coming, and they got lucky to actually get to this point, I think. That's a hot take, I know. But
well, Rob, because I remember Portugal did fairly well against Spain when they tied early on in the group stage. It was that phenomenal 3-3 game. Rob, what is your take on today's, not a disastrous game, but obviously not a game, a result that they wanted?
Yeah, I think you ran up against a Uruguay team that was well prepared, well coached, has been building with this generation of players for 10 years. You got a couple incredible, one incredible strike from Cavani, that amazing one touch that bent around the keeper. And you ran up against a team that was just in better form and had more of a supporting cast to rely on than Ronaldo did. And a Portuguese team that's aging around him, especially at the back, and couldn't keep up with the Uruguay strikers. And, when it came time, they just packed it in and sent, 3 or 4 men to Ronaldo, and there was nothing that Portugal could do to, offer a rebuttal against that strategy. I
think that's a great point, because almost to the viewer, at least to me, it felt like Cristiano Ronaldo was a one-man team almost, while Uruguay on the other side, had that phenomenal, the couple of Edison Cavani and Luis Suarez, which were dominating for, I guess, in terms of strikes. Dick Star, what did you think of that duo, Cavani-Suarez, and will Cavani get better, hopefully, for the next game?
Yeah, you'd hope so. He didn't look good coming off the field. Really nice gesture with Ronaldo walking him off. But at the same token, you don't know what to expect with a guy that relies on speed and kind of creating. You need to be 100%. Without him, I think they're going to struggle with France, just because, again, we talked about it with the speed element and also creating plays. But I will say that, moving forward for Uruguay, the one thing that I took away for them is they just played. They were gritty. They were outshot. Possession was, I think, almost 3-1. Well, not 3-1, but like 66% for Portugal. And in terms of passing, all they did was counter. And I think that they make the most of the opportunities, but they're definitely going to need him to have any shot at advancing past France.
Yeah, what a great point, Dixon. And one thing that I did want to bring up briefly is the VAR, the video assistant referee. I feel like I didn't see it so much as in other games. Was this your sentiment as well, Rob? Were they kind of holding back on using the VAR, especially in the second game, the Portugal against Uruguay game, where there were a couple of questionable fouls close to the box or in the box that they opted not to use the VAR? What did you think?
Yeah, the American referee who was running the show was definitely reticent to go to the VAR, was pretty confident in his calls. I didn't necessarily see any occasions where I was distraught that he chose not to go to the VAR. There was the potential handball in the box at the end of the game that the Portuguese players and subs were, exclaiming for, and it was clear when you look on the replay that it was nothing of the sort. And I thought that he actually did a tremendous job in not relying on it too much. I mean, if you have the technology, you want to get the calls right when you can. I didn't think that was as necessary today, and I've been relatively pleased with how little the VAR has interrupted play for the most part.
Dick Star, what do you think of this, the video assistant referee? Can it be said that it is somewhat of a subjective decision as to when to use the VAR, or do you think it's being used appropriately and equally, fairly, so to say?
Yeah, briefly, I think it's a long time overdue. It's saved a couple of games already. It's actually given better match results. I do think that it's a little bit too subjective. There needs to be a little bit more of an oversight team, possibly, and more explanation. And then after games, give reasons for why they did and why they didn't use it. But ultimately, I think the referee today was very fair, didn't give out a card until I think almost the game was already in hand. So I think, he let him play. And I think that had he kind of set the tone of, being a little bit more hands-on at the beginning, then I would have been, missed it.
Well said. Very well said. Well, gentlemen, we have the first match of the quarterfinals. It is going to be the one and only Uruguay against France next Friday, 7 a.m. Don't forget to tune in via Fox or Telemundo. Rob, what are going to be the keys of that game? Who do you have in that matchup?
After watching them today, I got to like France in that matchup. I do love the setup of the attacking French against the counterattacking Uruguayans. It should make for really fun soccer for the casual fan. I like France just because they have so many weapons. I do think that they're a little bit less likely to give up the counterattacking goals than the aging Portuguese backline would be. So I really like, if I were a betting man, I would be putting my money on France this next Friday.
D-Star, next Friday, France, Uruguay.
I'm going to go France as well. I think with the injury in play, I think you never know what's going to happen, and I don't think Suarez can do it by himself. I'm just hoping, as a rooter for a fan, from a fan perspective, I would love to see France win so we can see France-Belgium potentially on that side of the bracket.
Oh, that is a very good call. That would be a nice final, Belgium-France. I'm with you, gentlemen. I would like to see that Giroud, Antoine Griezmann combo, Paul Pogba, Kylian Mbappe do a nice little show. However, I would also like to see Edison Cavani fully recover and once again do the dynamic duo with Luis Suarez. I'm running out of time here, gentlemen. Great chatting with you. Please do not thank you very much. Please do not forget to jump into a group vocal if you'd like to say some words to us. But really quickly, gentlemen, tomorrow, Spain versus Russia, Croatia versus Denmark. Who do we got? Rob.
Tomorrow I have Croatia and Luka Modric, and Spain just to absolutely run over Russia. Dick Star, who do you have?
D-Star, close it.
I mean, selfishly, it's got to be Spain in the early game. I think everybody outside of the country of Russia is rooting for Spain. Maybe except never mind, we won't go there. And then we'll go with Croatia. I've got to ride the tide. I think that's going to be an excellent quarterfinal matchup, and we'll see what can happen. I think that Croatia is going to ride a wave and might actually upset Spain in the quarterfinal. But that's it for us. I guess we're all out of time, so we'll check in on you guys afterward.